Okay, let's continue with the Civil War. We left off in the last video clip after the Battle of First Bull Run, or Manassas, and the North realizing that it needs to prepare a lot more. It's lost two battles here, the one at Fort Sumter just off the coast of Charleston, and then also up north off the map at Manassas. When we get into 1862, you'll see there are lots of battles. The North has their blockade, the Anaconda Plan, in place, and now what they're going to try to do is seize control of the Mississippi River. If you do that, then you're separating the South from with Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas on one side and the remaining states on the other. So they're going to capture New Orleans first. So that is a big deal, a Union victory in this battle in New Orleans, where now Southerners can't get troops, can't get goods down the Mississippi River. So that's a big deal in early 1862. And the Union forces will then try to push up and will spend time pushing their way up the Mississippi River, gaining more territory as they go. So that's happening. One of the most important battles of the entire conflict occurs in 1862 as well, and it's the Battle of Antietam. Antietam is in Maryland, also called Sharpsburg. Remember, Confederates sometimes name battles after the nearest town, while Union troops name them after the nearest waterway, and there's Antietam Creek flowing by the battlefield. So Antietam is in Maryland. This is the Gettysburg is the deadliest overall battle of the Civil War. It lasted for 3 days. Antietam, it's technically going to be a Union victory, but as I put here, it's not good for Northern or Southern forces. Antietam, this was the deadliest day in U.S. history, September 17th, 1862. The population of Greenwood is wiped out in a day. So Gettysburg, again, the overall deadliest battle that lasted 3 days. This was the deadliest day in United States history. I'll post a little clip that shows kind of more people died and on that day than the American Revolution, the War of 1812, and the Mexican War combined. And McClellan was there, and per the norm against Robert E. Lee, this is Bloody Lane here, one of the sunken roads that looks like a scene out of the Holocaust. But what happens here is that McClellan, once again, Robert E. Lee had invaded the North. Maryland is a slave state, but fighting for the North. And he has to retreat, but McClellan does not follow him, does not pursue him. So the Northerners held their ground, the Southerners had to retreat, but extremely deadly costs on both sides. This is the battle where Lincoln realizes that some changes need to be made. He will start to make the war more about slavery. That had not been Lincoln's intention. When Lincoln was inaugurated, what am I looking up? So this is his, make sure it's his speech on March 4th of 1861. Remember, South Carolina and the other southern, a number of the other southern states had already seceded from the Union. And he specifically says here, I have no purpose, directly or indirectly, to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it exists. I believe I have no lawful right to do so, and I have no inclination to do so. Those who nominated and elected me did so with full knowledge that I made this and many similar declarations. So Lincoln is saying, look, if slavery already exists somewhere, I'm not doing anything about it. But after Antietam, the war starts to shift. And Lincoln, after Antietam, will announce a different purpose of the war with the Emancipation Proclamation. This is signed. Lincoln issues this proclamation after Antietam, but it is set to go into effect in January the following year. So January 1st of 1863 is when it would go into effect. And a lot of people think the Emancipation Proclamation frees the slaves. It does not. This is a very symbolic document, but it does not end slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation, let's do this. Okay, end slavery in the rebellious southern states alone. That does not end slavery in the border states where Lincoln actually had control. Places like New Orleans. So these states are saying, well, we're not part of the United States. So Lincoln doesn't have authority here. We're our own country. So problems emerging already. You see, it's a symbolic document about ending slavery, but it doesn't carry any legal authority. He doesn't end slavery where he actually could if he had. There are debates. It would require a constitutional amendment to end slavery. The president couldn't do that alone. But he doesn't say anything about ending slavery in those 4 border states that allowed it. So it doesn't carry any weight, but it does start to make the war more about slavery from a northern perspective. Instead of just bringing in those states in rebellion, drawing them back into the fold, now the war is becoming more about slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation.